Indeed, let's continue. Unit 38. More units for the Nuchov Sermon Mosman Shiur insert named Dangur in the Mishkanat Sha'ananim. We are looking at the two Rav Asis. We seem to have some kind of contradiction between the two Rav Asis. On the one hand, when we just explained Rebbe, what was Rebbe telling his Talmidim to go out and do? Right? He didn't tell him to go have a seat. He said, go clean the rocks off. That's what Rav Asi said. That Rebbe said. That's what Rav Asi said. That Rebbe said according to Rabbi Yochanan. Right. It's different from right. Rav Asi says to sit. Right. The Yoshev. Yoshev al pisha lo chashav. Yoshev al pisha lo chashav.
You just got to think.
Well. So which is the right one? So says Balamor, no, you got this wrong, right? So it sounds like Ravasi says it's enough to do just a small. It's enough just to use in passing. That demuktifies it. On the one hand, on the other hand, he says he quotes Rabbi Tzuva Shafshafum, make a proper preparation. Says Balamor, you misunderstood how this works. Let's read Balamor. Ravasi letamei da'amal Tzuva Shafshafum amar lahem. So you notice that now he's downplaying what the shifshuf means, right? Not so much. It's not so serious. You're just wiping it off a bit. There you have to come out with your pickaxe or with your chisel, right? Tamid Ravasi de Amal Yashav HaPish Lo Kashav Lo Chashav Dalma Kivan de Yashav Chalet Mibod Yom Asan Kli B'Shivato V'chen Pekurim V'Tzipa She'yatza Ben Shachad. I skipped that part in the Gemara, but so we'll get back to it later on. But the basic idea is one-time use is good enough. Mikol Kol Torat Kli Bai Rabbi Yochanan B'Maaseh Kol Dehu. But the important one is the next one. Rav Asi disagreed. I'll explain what's going on here. Sorry, I'm sorry. I need to read out the pages more often. So we assumed so far that one-time use is not as good as thought, as premeditated preparation, right? Right. It's more right. So when he says it's enough to sit once, right? To sit in passing once, that is not as good as. So of course, if you think it works. But Balamor says no, like this. Really, you have your hierarchy. Ravasi disagrees with the way you've depicted your hierarchy. The best preparation, the most serious and stringent preparation, is when you change the surface of the item itself. So you take a chisel and you affect it. One beneath that is doing some kind of minimal preparation of getting the dust off the stone so you can sit. Yeah? One beneath that is single-time use. And the worst one, without machshava. Yes. And the worst one is machshava, because the ma'aseh is stronger than the machshava. Why does he say this? Because by doing that, by changing the hierarchy, what he's saying is, what was our problem? Ravasi seemed to say, on the one hand, you need to do something that prepares it, which is the best, and on the other hand, it's enough to sit one time, which is the worst. And he says, no. That's not what you have at the edges. At the edges, you have a preparation, it's a proper preparation with chisel. And at the other end, you have machshava. And in the middle, you have one-time use or some kind of minimal preparation of just dusting it off. And those two aren't very far apart. And that's what Ravasi holds. One of those. So thinking is not good enough according to Ravasi. And that's why he says dust the stone off. Don't just think. And so why don't you just sit on the stone? It's full of dust. You should dust it off anyway, right? So you can either dust it off or use it once in passing. Those are pretty much the same. The Chonuk don't do a proper kshira. Kshira is something much more stringent, much more serious. You're actually changing the shape of the wood and its interaction with itself. So Rav Asi, so that seems to be that the Balamor says that's the way Rav Asi Rav Asi's hierarchy. So unlike what we said, that the best is the preparation, the worst is one-time use. He puts them much closer to each other. A minimal preparation is not as serious as kshira or what's it called, limud, right? And thought is the least, is the worst, is the least effective. So that's the way the Balamor and then the Ramban agreed with him. Okay, the Rashba disagreed. Rav Asi Amal, Rashba next source. Rav Asi Amal Yoshev al pi shelo kashav al pi shelo chashav. מדכמה ישר על פי שלא חשב, מסתבר דמוסיפו על דברי שמואל, דתפי עדיף חשב ולא ישב, מי ישב ולא חשב. I pointed this out earlier that the Gemara itself says, ישב אף על פי שלא קשר ולא חשב. Right? אף על פי שלא קושר ולא חושב. יושב אף על פי שלא... Right. So, right.
So I walk back around tomorrow, I set in that.
Exactly.
Then it's not Muktze.
Exactly. So that would be the bottom of the hierarchy, right? That would be the worst, according to Rashba, right?
And
Machshava is even better based on this reading. Machshava is even better based on this reading, right? So how do you, so what does Rav Asi hold? Rav Asi hold that you need to prepare with a shifshuf, which is the best, or do you have to just, or is one-time use good enough, which is the worst? So here we have Tosfot. Tosfot say, had kamar Rav Asi, perik b'mot tomnim chalot tzedek yashav v'bir shekashal, hatam Rav Ashi. So two answers. Tosfot has one of the two answers. First answer is to say there's no stira, it's just machloket. It's not Rav Asi. It's one is Rav Asi, one is Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi is the one who says what? And it's Rav Ashi and Rav Asi. They're allowed to argue, no problem. That's the one option. And then we had a whole bunch of machlokot. There's another machlokot. Sure. And this is an important point. It says, why would one-time use work? Because they're better prepared. Why are they better prepared than stones? So you could say, well, I don't know, go sit on dekel, on that wood, that kind of wood, or that kind of lumber, or sit on stones and see which is more comfortable, right? I don't know. Right? That's one way of reading it. But I think the point is different. I think the point is that the stones, what's going to happen to the stones tomorrow? They're going to stay in the woods. What's going to happen to this wood tomorrow? Well, they'll probably stay in my garden until I decide that I need them for fuel. If it's cold enough, I'll burn them. Until then, I'll continue using. Why not?
As a chair.
Right, correct. I'll continue using them as chairs because they're comfortable enough. Well, why not? Oh, I'll need them for fuel. I use them then for fuel until then I continue using them. So that's why when it comes to the wood, it's enough to think. When it comes to the stones,
the wood is in my garden.
Right. Correct.
And
exactly.
The rock is in my garden.
Mm-hmm. If the rock is in my garden,
it's the same as the wood.
Even
the rock outside in the park.
That's right. That's right. Who holds this lemaisa?
The rock in the park as well. Isn't it the
correct. Yeah, right. It's only because we're talking about good gadal. Because exactly. Who holds this lemaisa is the Rambam. Skip over to the Rambam. So the Rambam actually holds this lemaisa. The Rambam says, פרק כ"ה הלכה כ"א, נדבך הבנים שחשב עליו מבעוד יום, אם לימדום, מותר לשבת עליו מחר ואם לאו אסור. Limdum is the highest level of preparation, right? So the Rambam is the most machmir. He says you have to actually do some action to prepare them, right?
Limdum from
with a chisel. Yeah, that's the highest level. As opposed to chalot shel dekel, shegdaran le'etzim v'nimlach alei me'erev Shabbat li'yeshiva mutar l'taltelan. It's enough to think. Without thinking, we're doing talk to them. The Rambam goes from being the most machmir to being the most maker. Why? Right. So I don't think it's like wood and stone necessarily. It's just that nidbach avanim just means I have some stones out there. So if I want to use them, I need to do something to make it clear that it's part of my world. The wood, what made it not part of my world? The wood is in my woodshed. Why is it not part of what I'm using? Oh, because I intended on using it for fuel. Besides, so now intend it differently now. That's all you need. Because you just have to override your first intention. The stones are muktze onto themselves because they're out there. So now you have to make them part of your world somehow. You have to change them. You have to do something to them. In Nachanan, what Dr. Paz said earlier is correct. If I carry the stones, I schlep the stones over to my garden and put them there, then the intention should be enough. But if I'm leaving them in the woods, then I have to do something to make it a chair. If I have wood that's part of my world, so why is it still muktze? Because I had the wrong intention. So now we have the right intention. Now on Erev Shabbat, right? To make that clear, right, in case that's not clear. On Erev Shabbat, you have to make sure that I have the right intention. That's with things I've already brought into my world. But things I'm leaving out there, what justifies my use of using them on Shabbos? Because I want to. They're still part of the world of nature. I'm not changing anything about them. So you have to change something. Chisel them. Now again, chisel, just pointing out, chisel doesn't mean like taking a chisel and making a beautiful chair. It just means to flatten it out a bit, to make it a bit more, right? So that's the way the Rambam holds, really does. I'll just show in 1 second the other shitot here, la halacha, and then the lines. Balamor says, Mistaba dilchat Ravasi, right? And according to Balamor, Ravasi means either one-time use or some kind of minimal preparation, like dusting them off. So that's Ravasi, according to Balamor. Says Tosfot, Rabbeinu Shimshon HaZaken pasak Ravasi, kama b'samuch, Ravasi shubata matnidi nami daika. So the Rosh Mishant, and we'll see also the Rosh, we'll see later on, they hold like Ravasi. But the better Ravasi. It's important to point this out. Balamor says we hold like Ravasi, which means Machshava is not good enough, but everything else is. The Rosh also hold like Ravasi, except the other Ravasi. Again, there's a machloket between Balamor and the Tosfot how to read right. The machloket between Balamor and the Tosfot, the Balamor and the Tosfot how to read Ravasi. Is Ravasi saying one-time use is okay, but machshava is not? That's what the Balamor said. Or you say even one-time use is okay, so of course machshava works. So Balamor and the Rosh both agree halacha is like Ravasi. The question is, how do you read Ravasi, right? Balamor says halacha is like Ravasi, so you have to either use once or do some kind of preparation, but thought is not enough. And the Rosh Mishant and the Rosh say they hold like Ravasi, which means anything is enough, even thinking or one-time use, anything is enough. Rabbeinu Tam is the exact opposite, hold like Rav, and you have to actually do something to prepare. Do something to prepare. Those are 3 shitot, right? 2.5, right? Rabbeinu Tam holds like Rav. Balamor and Rosh agree, hold like Ravasi, but the question is how to read Ravasi. And the Rambam holds like the second to roots in Tosfot and Ravasi, which differentiates between things that I've already collected into my world and things that I'm leaving out there. Things I'm leaving out there, I have to do some kind of ma'aseh to prepare them. Things I've collected into my world, there it's enough to, since I've collected them already, the only thing standing in the way is the right intention. So there, if I have the right intention, I'm good. Sure?